Alrighty, another video, and this time it's gonna be, getting things buttoned up, getting ready to get the body mounted on it. And I've already picked through a few things, realigned my air filters so it's not gonna rub on the splash shields, and fixed the leak for the on the clutch, and I got the ISIS thing figured out. I'm having trouble getting a signal for the wheel speed sensors on the race logic, but I figured out that it is I got the race logic unit second hand, and it came with the wheel speed sensors, and there's a difference. If it's set up for their wheel speed sensors, then it will not work with this type of wheel speed sensor. So I've been hooked up with the Jordan Innovations. Jeff's a pretty good guy. He's been helping me out a lot, and I finally gave him enough information to where he was like, yeah, that's not going to work. So he's got a guy that might be able to trade me, because those wheel speed sensors are worth some money too. So I'll just do an even trade if he can find somebody and get the right box. I'll leave the harness plugged in, get the correct box, put it back in the mounts, plug it in, and then everything should be good. So I'm going to hold off on that part of it. I still want to see about getting some tow hooks, some place to tie this thing down, and tow it if necessary. Got to get my seat belts done. I found some grommets, pass-throughs for the belts. It wasn't quite going to be a good enough angle coming up over the top of the seat. I'm pretty skinny, so when that belt comes up over the top, it's just barely wanting to hold me down in there. And then when I suck the top tight, it just pulls that thing up. And so I need to put a pass-through right here. I found these on the internet, Sector 111, I think. These are made for a Lotus Elise, to go in their seats up here. But it's the same type of seat, fiberglass shell. It's about the same thickness. These things just sandwich together on each side. You cut a hole in the fiberglass, cut out the material, and then just sandwich it together, and then pass your belt through there. And so I'll be able to get a real good angle across my belt line, my pelvis, pulling down at the right angle, so it's really fighting against the incline of the seat. I want quite a force down and a little bit back, about 70 degrees or so, and then that'll give me my best clamp down force, keeping my seat in the butt, keeping me from doing the submarine thing. And then when I tighten up the shoulder straps, it'll less likely to pull that up. So anyway, that's going to work out good. And that they also came with the pass-through for here. If I ever do want to hook up a submarine. This belt setup I got, it's a pretty good one. Seems like it's going to work out pretty good. It's DOT approved. It's got the red button. Anti-submarine. That's some kind of patented thing they got. That breaks loose, keeps the momentum from wanting to go underneath somehow during a collision. Anyways, so this has the provision, when this is all hooked up, it's got one for the bottom, so I can add an anti-submarine strap to this setup here if I want. So I'm going to work on getting that done next. So I'm going to have to weld in some mounts here for the two belt lap straps. I could leave this all here, but I'm going to hack this out of here, smooth that off. There's a bracket on the other side. It doesn't stick up in the air. I'll probably just leave that one there. So quite a bit of work just getting that harness set up, and then also before I put the body on, I want to get all the dash put together, you know, with the vents in it, my ISIS system in it, traction control, you know, how I'm going to mount that up here in the console area, and get that all mapped out before I put the body on it. I'm going to have to stop and think what I want to do on that, because all that vinyl is pulling loose from the interior parts, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to hassle with trying to go back and forth with shipping, you know, and then getting another part and have it do the same thing on a hot day. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to pull that stuff off there and try something else. So yeah, a lot of work for that dash area coming up also. And beyond that, it's not much, just a couple little things. I got to put a clutch stop in it, get my horn in there, mount my rear view mirror, and little things like that. And then, you know, it's ready for assembly. So hopefully it all goes good. Alright, there's what I got for the seat so far. I kind of just made a straight line there. Chose my angle. You know, which will hold me in the seat the best against the incline, you know, of the butt. And, you know, just transferred that all the way across, and same thing with the angle here. And then checked with some measurements, made sure it was going to come out symmetrical. You know, so when it's all done, you look in there, you know, it's symmetrical. You know, and then kind of best guessed this location. You know, made some reference lines and then transferred that over onto all four holes, so that should come out pretty symmetrical also. So yeah, there it is. Take the seats out, cut the holes, and get this stuff hacked off of there. And then, you know, if I can, I'll use this metal here for some of my mounts. Otherwise I'll go get some and get that welded on there and painted. And then the harness part of the deal should be done. I gotta look at the instructions and see the proper way. You know, these have to be wrapped a certain way, and they probably want, you know, something special to happen with all this excess. So I'll probably tie that in, loop it around, let it drape down the back somehow, I'm sure. There's the buckets, the pass-through for the harness. Came out pretty good. It's hard to get those to snap in there, but you know, I have to say that's perfect for that seat, you know, and that thickness. And pretty self-explanatory. You got to cut enough material out of there so you're not sandwiching it in between, you know, where it joints together. And then it only snaps together in 2 spots, and boy, you got to really get it there, and then it finally clicks. And it came out pretty good. I'm starting on the location for the mounts. Cut this part off. Here's the angle of the belt, and there's the angle of that belt. This one's going to be pretty easy. I put the seat over that way as far as I could. Just center it up with the pedals. So this mount will be outside of the trim panel. Just a simple little bracket coming off the bottom here. But this side, it's up against the tunnel as far as I could. And to get the belt, you know, to mount at the right spot, at the right angle, you know, kind of tilt it in toward the seat. I had to make a little pocket right there. So I'll cut out some pieces and weld that in. Take this angle off this bar. Keep the angle here that I need to mount the belt. And I'll weld the nut on the back of that. So you just bolt that in there. And then I made a little shoulder right here, which will follow the contour of this panel here. So I'll cut this out, you know, whatever angle that is. And this location will be gone. I'll retain this one, but I'll put a couple more, you know, like maybe you know, like 1 up here, 2 up here or something. A couple different places to mount it for these nut certs, and then that'll seal that off from the tunnel. You know, so I'll be able to finish the carpet and everything around this pocket, and then it'll be sealed from the heat and gases and stuff like that from the tunnel, so that should be good. And the other side won't be so complicated because I didn't try and cram the seat over into the tunnel so much, so that'll be on the outside without having to dig into it. It's pretty much centered in the hole over there to where this one is way over. So yeah, leave it to me to make something simple more complicated, huh? But it's getting there. And I got some other parts to finish up a couple other things. I got my horn. That'll be easy. Find a location for and wire that up. And I got a one-way check valve for my fuel system. It's like a Chevy hood stop adjustment, which will be my clutch stop adjustment now. I don't want to overextend my clutch, so I'll mount that thing in here. Be a nice little stop. Good spot to mount it in here. And then the bearings I got are kind of garbage, so I got some new bearings for the rear. I noticed the right rear is kind of wobbly, and I grabbed a hold of it and it's loose, so I'm going to change the rear bearings. Get that new, because they weren't new, they were used. And got a couple other things coming. Oh, I got some brackets coming from my mirror to get that mounted. Yeah, I'll get a couple other things all ironed out, and it's getting almost done. Here's that check valve. And it's been starting fine without it, but it doesn't hold pressure at all, the fuel system. Turn the key on and, you know, it holds 60 pounds easy from the pump. As soon as the pump stops, if the car isn't running, it drops down to 0 pressure. And I've experienced one time where I went to start it up. It had been sitting a while, and I had to crank on it quite a bit before it sputtered, because it doesn't hold the pressure in the line. And then other than that, it starts, if not the second, the third time, which I think it would start the first time, the first bump, if it had good pressure in the line. So, and then I got the fuel lines so tightly integrated in there, all the fuel lines, it's actually going to be hard to find a spot to put that thing. So I'm going to try and find a spot to put that in there, and I think that's going to cure my, anyway, I shouldn't say problems. I don't really feel it's a problem, but I think that'll make the thing bump right over, first kick. Alright, got all my pieces cut out, everything angled off. So the weld eats in there good. I don't got a real powerful welder. I'm only hooked up at 110, so with this thicker metal I really gotta grind it out so I can burn it back in with my welder. And I got these ready to go. There's my where the seat belt will hook on, and I'll just weld that bolt onto the back. And anyway, that was a lot of work getting all them little pieces cut out. And it's kind of a complicated little seat belt mount, but whatever. This side I had to get over a little bit. This side I had to sink into the tunnel. And passenger side should be easy. It's pretty equal on each side. It'll be just a strap coming up, so that part will go quick. So I'm dying to get this welded up and done and painted so I can move on to something else. We'll see how it comes out. And there's the other side. One for here. And this side was not any easier. Still needed to get that in a bit. But that's how that looks, when that panel's on there. And it'll seal up against there, so nice little pocket there. And I already got the other side done and painted, so I can't see in there, but so now that sits good angle. Latch around the pelvis bone, pin you down in the seat, and keep it from you latch it down the right way, and then the shoulder straps don't want to pull it up when you cinch those up. Anyway, glad to get that part done. A bunch more cutting and grinding and welding. More mess. I better do another summation and get this posted up on YouTube for you guys. Man, last couple weeks I really haven't done much work on this thing. Easter, life, the yard's growing, transmission broke in my Beamer. So I know how to take a automatic transmission apart for a BMW now. Anyway, I got that going again. So now I'm back on the GTM. Seat belts are done. What else I got? Ordered up a horn. Got a horn ordered. Kind of a generic horn. Don't even know what it sounds like, but I'll pick a generic spot to mount it. You know, that way if I don't like it, I can change it with something else. I'll get that wired up, mounted in there, and I got, I think I already showed, I got those bearings. Got some good bearings for the rear. Those used ones weren't going to cut it. I got these prepped out. I like to wipe them down with lacquer thinner and spray it with clear. This bomb can clear, the whole thing coated, and that keeps that from rusting. You know, and I've seen that last 10-15 years. You know, if you don't scratch it off, it just stays like that. It's real easy to clean and don't rust. So I got one side done. Wasn't too bad. I went ahead and took the axle all the way out, which meant I have to redo the little silicone seal, keep the grease from splattering out. So I had to clean that up and reapply that, take the axle out, pop the rear control arm out, rear lower ball joint, and I was able to swing that out far enough to get the axle out completely out of the car. And then in just a matter of unbolting that and putting it back on, I still got to do this side. And then a couple more basic little things. I got lucky. I found a guy, Jordan Innovations. He's going to swap me out race logic units, since I unknowingly got one that doesn't work with these sensors. So he's going to swap me out. I sent mine to him. He's going to send me a different one. Get that mounted. I had to tear a bunch of wiring apart. So that took some time, and I'll have to redo it up nice and neat once I get the sensors in there again. So that'll be nice to get that done. And after that, I think I got to do, you know, my escape handles in case the electrical fails, to be able to open up the doors. So I'm going to mount up some cables and some handles for that. And then I'm going to take a real good hard look at the dash and get the dash done. And that's pretty much all the fabrication I need to do. At that point, it's ready to put together, get the body on it, and be done with it. So, getting closer.